Hello? Anyone there? One viewer. I don't know how to tell if you can hear me, unless someone tells me they can't hear me. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Okay. For this first, for this first live stream, we're gonna make the King Arthur flour sticky, you probably can't read that, Sticky Bun Doughnuts. The link is in the description. If you would love to bake along with me, I would love that. So first we're gonna start with, I've already done it, but preheating the oven to 350. Then, having read through the recipe, I know I'm gonna wanna do a couple things out of order. So the first is that for the topping, which is the first thing that goes in our pans, and let me switch to this. In our donut pan, the topping is gonna go first. To do the topping, we need melted butter. So that's what I'm gonna do first, is melt my butter on the warmer, or at least get it melting. We need 28 grams of melted butter. Okay, so then here's the deal. Looking at the reviews for this, like, all the reviews are 5-star reviews for this recipe, so I'm actually really looking forward to making it. But looking at the reviews, most people said they doubled the toppings, the topping mixture, and I'm trying to decide, do I do that or do I stick with the original recipe? Because this is the first time I've made it, so I'm not entirely sure. I do tend to like gooey toppings and always wish there was more of it, so I should probably just double. We're gonna double. Okay, so that means we need 28 times 2, 56 grams of butter in our little, this is a special measuring cup just for warming butter and milk and such on the stovetop. I've got a burner specifically for warming, so I've got that on. Right, what'd I say? 56. Maybe like 4-ish tablespoons, but I'm cutting it smaller. 57, that's fine. The reason that's fine, and then I'm letting it slide, is because I've never used this warmer thing before, so we're gonna see how that goes. I'm a huge fan of weighing all my ingredients, and wet or sticky ingredients or whatever, I tend to put like a gram or 2 extra to account for whatever is still stuck to the inside of the container, the measuring device. Emily! My dear niece Emily is here today. Yay! Definitely double it. Okay, good. That's what I'm gonna do. So then, now where do we want to go to? Oh, we're gonna get our pan ready. While that's warming up, we're gonna get our pan ready. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this butter, stick it on that guy, and use this to grease the pan. Now this is supposed to make 6 donuts. Hopefully that's not too crazy loud. Supposed to make 6 donuts. I have 2 pans here. Some of the reviews said that they had enough to get 8 donuts. So I kind of have a pan on standby. I'm not going to grease it until we know we need it, to save me having to wash some stuff later. You know, like, who wants to do that extra work if not necessary? Yeah, so there we go. Those are greased. I like to put, like, pans like this, you go to try to grab it in the oven. If you put this directly in the oven, you go to try to grab it with your, like, oven mitt or a hot pad or whatever, I tend to have had issues in the past of like smushing the baked good with the hot pad. So what I do to give myself plenty of grabbing room is I'll bake it on a tray like that, so that I can grab it all over with the hot pad or whatever. So that's good to go, and I'm gonna set it aside. The butter is melting nicely. Okay, nope, we're gonna finish getting the toppings ready. That's what we're gonna do. I'm definitely going out of order. All right, so for doubling the toppings, I'll need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I'm gonna put that, once the butter is melted, I'll just add it right into that container with, because you stir it into the butter, the melted butter. And I'm gonna need 2 tablespoons, or, because I like to measure everything, we need, if it's originally 2 tablespoons and we're doubling it, is another 26 grams times 2 is 52. Okay. And this goes, what do I do with this? Combine the sugars, pecan, and cinnamon. Okay, so that bowl is not big enough, that little container. Let's do this one. Okay, so 52. That's 52. Light brown or dark brown sugar, and then 28 grams times 2 of pecans. These are pecans from my lovely friend's farm in Georgia. That anytime I go visiting up there, she hooks us up with pecans, and it's so generous, because these days pecans are not cheap. And I like to just, can you chop them? Sure. I just have, since I was a child, I've just broken them up with my fingers like Granny used to do. It was good enough for Granny, it's good enough for me. That's what I say. And my hands are clean, I wash them a ton of times. And I'll probably be the only ones eating this donuts unless Heather comes and visits. So we're going to 50, oh, you probably can't read that. We're going to 56 grams, no. 50, 28 times 2 is 50, 56. Okay. I did just realize as I was kind of pulling out the ingredients for this, I may not have enough cinnamon to double it, so we'll just put all the cinnamon that's in there and see what happens. Can't believe I've run out of cinnamon. It's like one of those things, like how often do you run out of that stuff? Harvest loves pecans. Candied pecans, yes. There's a French toast casserole recipe by Paula Deen that calls for, like, you candy the pecans and put them on top of the casserole when it's done. Oh, and you might have had that. Do I ship baked goods? No, this is so that you can bake these along at home. I believe in you. Okay. Now what? The cinnamon. Let's see how much I have. It's supposed to be 3/4 times 2, which is 1.5, and I happen to have, or I thought I did. I could have sworn I had a 1.5 teaspoon situation, but I guess not. Okay. This is a 3/4. I'm just gonna dump it all in. I'm not even bothering to measure that. It is what it is. Okay. I'm gonna stir this up. And mix it with a fork just to help break up the powdered sugar, the brown sugar. That's useless. We're going to mix this with our fingers. Just make sure your hand's clean. What's the last thing you baked? Okay, great. Topping's ready. is the butter melted? Okay, so not yet. We'll go ahead and start on the batter. I'm going to weigh out my flour and get that out of the way. We need 1 cup of flour, which weighed is 120 grams. And it does make a huge difference. Probably a turkey. Last sweet dish was a cinnamon roll focaccia. I've been wanting to try those. I've seen them everywhere on Instagram, the cinnamon roll focaccias. They look delicious. Can you send me the recipe you used? Oh, oh shoot. I made a mess. There we go, 120. Minus the stuff I spilled on the side. All right, so a lot of recipes, this one does not, but I'm gonna take a chance and go ahead and do it. A lot of recipes have you put all the dry ingredients together and stir them up, like the baking soda, salt, baking powder. This one, it has you adding those ingredients to the wet mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here with the flour and stir it up. I can't imagine it will, famous last words, I don't think it'll mess anything up, but we are gonna need a teaspoon of baking powder, that's this stuff. Teaspoon. Okay. 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. That's this one. And salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Should I center? Sorry. Okay. Then I will stir this up so we don't have any. I guess the reason you would do this is because, in theory, the more once you combine your wet ingredients with your flour and you start working that together, the more you mix it, the tougher it could become, the final product. That's why, like with bread, you got to knead it. Like the more you mix it with the yeast and stuff, you're building up those gluten strands. My understanding is it's the same thing even if you don't have yeast in there. So like cakes, the more you mix them, the tougher they'll be. Biscuits, you want to touch biscuits or mix biscuits as little as humanly possible. So the reason for doing this is so that when we add these ingredients to the wet ingredients, these dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, everything in the dry is super incorporated together, and therefore we don't have to worry about we didn't stir so much the dry into the wet, and so maybe there's a section where the baking soda has, kept itself and it hasn't mixed into the rest, that sort of thing. It just helps incorporate everything better. Okay, so now we're going to start at the top. Beat together the butter, oil, and sugars until smooth. Okay. So for butter, now we're not doubling anymore. I need 28 grams of butter. That's 2 tablespoons. Of course, my butter's softened. It's going to be easier to 26, 28. So it'll be easier to mix. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, that's 25 grams of vegetable oil. I went a little overboard, so this is embarrassing. Just kidding. I'd rather weigh and make adjustments like this, just for consistency. I mean, baking is science. chemical reactions and ingredients. The amount of ingredients is important to the final product. So, oh my gosh, what did I say? 25 grams? Okay. Then 50 grams of granulated sugar. So what I need to do is pay better attention. I know I'm all like nervous about streaming, but I'm gonna do this a little slower. I'm gonna hit the 50 grams right on. Probably oatmeal raisin covered in chocolate cookies. Is the last one? Wait, so like you put like, are those goobers? Chocolate covered raisins. You put chocolate covered raisins in it? Or you covered the cookies with chocolate? Oatmeal raisin covered in chocolate cookies. All right, we need 28 grams of light brown sugar. The other thing about weighing your ingredients, you know how like recipes they call for packed brown sugar? How packed is packed? Like, are you shoving it down in there? Or are you just gently patting it? How full is that really? And you never know. And how are you going to be consistent like weeks later packing it the exact same way if you're making a recipe again or a different recipe? So if you weigh it, it is what it is. And you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Tell me if this is too loud and record this. That's not loud at all. All right, so we're going to, this is flying out. Wait, all of it? Weigh all of it, yes. Weigh all the things. It's going to take a minute for this to come together until smooth. Then we'll add the egg. Oh my gosh. I don't know about hand mixers, but it's such a small amount. I think the KitchenAid would be overkill. We're getting there. Not too loud. Okay, good. Thanks for joining me before your work today. I appreciate that. Say that's smooth. Add the egg beating to combine. Okay. I like to do things on camera. I like to crack my eggs in a separate container just so I can check for shells before I put it into the mixing bowl. So that's what I'm doing here. Looking for I think we're good. So we're going to add that. I don't have egg on my fingers, so I have to clean that. Can't handle sticky fingers when I'm baking. Your egg also should be room temperature, because if it's too cold, it's gonna cause that butter to seize up into little chunks, little tiny, like curdled chunks, and that's not helpful. It's not what you want. Yeah, I said this was smooth, but I am seeing some bits of the brown sugar. We'll just keep mixing. Add egg beating to combine. Look at us. Scrape. You know, I've never sifted brown sugar before, but I don't know. Little tiny clumps. It'll be fine. It'll be fine for a first run at this recipe. Okay, then stir in the baking powder, baking soda, salt, and sweet dough flavor. Okay, so on here, their suggestion is to go with vanilla to flavor this. But they have a little note looking for that distinctive bakery flavor. Substitute half a teaspoon buttery sweet dough flavor for the vanilla. Okay, so I ordered some and I got it in. I don't know if I like it. I definitely have had things before that have this flavor, what I'm smelling, which it feels very citrusy. I have this other stuff called Fiori di Sicilia that from King Arthur that I've used before. They're similar-ish, but kind of citrusy, and I'm not sure. I don't want to risk it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use vanilla in this instance. So for vanilla, we need 1 teaspoon. Yeah, that stuff is very strong, so I'm not surprised that they go from 1 teaspoon down to a half a teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon vanilla. And I think we're done now with the measuring spoons, so I'm gonna put them in the sink and regret my choice later. That's fine. Now we want to weigh out our milk, because the next step is to beginning and ending with flour, stirring the flour to the butter mixture alternately with the milk. So I need to get my milk weighed out. And then if we're stirring and not mixing, I'm just gonna put this away. All right, so for milk we need, where's the milk? 6 tablespoons, 85 grams of milk. Sometimes I nail it on the first try. Put that there. And beginning and ending with the flour. So probably do this in maybe 3 batches of flour and 2 batches of milk. Yeah. Keeping that, sorry. Like half-ish of the milk. I've been meaning to try, I've never made sticky buns. I've had them to eat before, of course, but I've never made them and have been meaning to try actual sticky buns. Didn't think making bread on a live stream would work with all the rise times and stuff. So like this is the next best solution, and I had my eye on this recipe for forever. Finally getting to try it. Wish I could stay for the whole thing. Aw, thanks, Em. Oh, there's service driving around here. Okay. No worries. Hey, are we gonna see you for the holidays at all? Do the rest of the milk. I've never heard or seen sticky buns. So sticky buns are like cinnamon rolls, but with you fill the bottom of the pan with like this gooey mixture that we're making and pecans and stuff, and then you bake the sticky buns on top of the gooey mixture. Then when they come out of the oven, you turn them over, and then all that gooey stickiness just drizzles down from the bottom of the buns to what was the bottom is now the top. And yeah, they're delicious and gooey and wonderful. And so that's kind of, obviously that's sort of what we're doing here. We're making upside down donuts, and when you pop them out, all the gooey stuff that will be in the bottom of the donut pan will be the top. Okay. All right, so there is that. Now the butter should be melted. It is. Handy. This is kind of warm, so I don't want to stick it directly on here. Let me get a hot pad. Okay, to this we are adding the 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, or honey or corn syrup. So I'm using maple syrup, and let's see, 2 tablespoons is 30, calls for 1 tablespoon, we're doubling it, so I need 2 tablespoons, and on the back, according to the serving size, 2 tablespoons is 30 milliliters, so I think milliliters is the same as grams, right? It is. I asked that like a question, like I didn't know. All right, Emily, see you later. I'm gonna try to make it down there in December, thinking of doing a week and trying to say, oh, yay. What did I just say, 30? Well, Thanksgiving won't be the same without you. But that's okay. We'll make up for lost time. All right, we're stirring this together as best as we can, which isn't, oh my gosh, am I dirty? Don't look, now I've got to get color coordinated hot pads just in case they're seen. And our topping's ready and our batter's ready. So we're gonna grab our a tiny kitchen, trying to do too much. So I don't know about this, and here's my concern, is that it's not really, you can see, it's not really combining, like it's, so I'm worried about getting, like when I go to pour this, I'll get more syrup than butter in certain holes, in certain donuts. Like it's not, it's kind of like oil and water or something, like it's just not gonna fully combine. So I'm gonna keep stirring as I a couple spoonfuls in each. Now, if I was being really super particular, I would knowing that this is, knowing what the weights were on this, 50 something and then 30, so 80, 86 grams of this stuff, could be very particular and put this tray on the scale and tear it between, divide whatever 86 is by 6 and make sure I've got just that amount in each one so they're all equal. If it was just me baking by myself, I would probably do that. But I'm gonna try to be moving along. All right, there's a little bit of topping left, but I feel like we have plenty in there. And then that gives me, in case this is more than 6 donuts and I need to add some to the other pan, I'll have a little bit of topping left. Okay, then we fill the topping, combine the butter, and then divide among the walls of the prepared pan. Combine the sugars, pecans, and cinnamon and sprinkle atop the butter/syrup in each well. And so that's what we'll do now. This is also kind of like, I think what I do, next time I did these, I would probably do the sugar separate, the sugars and cinnamon separate from the pecans, so I can really, like I'm trying to make sure I get a good amount of each. But when you stir this up, it's just the pecans kind of all go to the top and the sugar all goes to the bottom. Is it going to taste good? Yes. It's going to taste great. But I like to be a little more precise if I can. Who's here? Amy's here! And Hope, yay! Yay for sisters who come and watch me do things. Amy, I'm using Miss Claire's pecans that I got on my last visit. What do we think? Is that enough topping? I'm worried about now having enough space for the donut dough. And I've never used this I've never used this donut pan before. I don't know. Like I kind of wish, what do y'all think? Okay, I kind of wish these center bits here came up to the same level as the rest of the tray, so that this is gonna be interesting. I have a feeling that we're gonna lose the hole on this side, which is fine. And they actually do warn about that in the recipe. And obviously you can just eat it like it is if that happens. But you could also, they suggested taking a piping tip, like a bigger one, and just use it to cut out the hole. Like if you really want your donut to have a hole. Because I wonder how, like my thought is, how much does this batter, once it warms up, how much does it spread? I just feel like we're gonna lose that hole. Does it say anything about how much? No, it just says spoon the batter evenly into each well, filling to the rim. Okay. Probably next time I would put this batter in a piping bag and just pipe it in. Maybe a little faster, a little more consistent, maybe. Hi. What's Hope saying? This amazing, best baking I've ever tasted. Who needs the donut? I know. I was gonna, Amy, I was trying to decide, do I let her know that I'm doing this so she can watch today? But since it's the first one, and I pretty sure I'm gonna have some technical difficulties. But so far so good, right? That I was like, let me get one done and work out any kinks, and then I'll start. Because there's, believe me, I'll be having a lot of pecan related recipes. There's that buttermilk farmhouse cake that I've made for Hope on a visit. What time? Yeah. So I was definitely going to do that at some point. Then I might wait a little more into the fall. This is riveting content right here. Yeah, piping bag next time. And I'll be curious to see how much these rise out of this pan. And these only have to bake for 15 minutes. So during that time, I'm gonna make some coffee because I think these would be really good with coffee. Oh, Howard, the farmhouse cake, yeah, it's fantastic. That's another King Arthur that they got from, I assumed, I don't know, I just, because growing up thinking like pecans, all our pecans came from Georgia because of our friends, that in my mind, anything pecan related is like, any recipe pecan related would be a Georgia recipe, like a southern recipe. And so that buttermilk farmhouse cake, I reached out to King Arthur and asked like where that came from. And they said from a local, meaning local to them, which is up in like Vermont, a local farm, it seemed like it was like a roadside stand kind of a place with food and other goodies, and the woman's been running it for years and years and years and years. And it's her recipe, and they adapted it from her recipe. Because I had never heard of it and had never seen anything like it. Okay, so we only have this much batter left. I mean, that's obviously not enough for another donut. I could maybe. Trying to keep that center. I just think the middle bits should come up as high as the side. All right, let's get these in the oven. These go in for 15 minutes. Okay, while that's baking, and the beauty part about these that I thought would make for, oh, it's raining. It's a lovely rainy Sunday. Is that when they come out of the oven, we don't have to wait for them to cool in the pan. You do want to turn them out really fast because that ooey topping if it cools in the pan, it will stick to the pan. You'll never get it out. So we don't have to wait for them to cool too long enough for me to try one, and I'm really excited about trying one. But yeah, I thought it'd be a nice, easy one to do on a live stream. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to make some coffee to go with this while it's baking. I bet she's from the South, maybe. But candy pecans would be great as a carrot casserole top. I think you're right about that. Like, I have always wondered why we've never put pecans on it, because it's very similar to the candied yams. It's kind of the same thing, just with carrots, right? So maybe we should try it with that like marshmallowy pecan topping that they put on the yams. We just didn't grow up eating yams, did we? It was carrot casserole. Okay. This is fun. How is the background music? Is it too loud? Is it okay? I don't hear it at all, so I don't know what it's doing. Alright, this is how I make my pour over coffee, alright? I weigh it, I weigh all the things. So for coffee, I'm gonna make a couple cups. I do a 15 to 1 with pour over, so you can barely hear the music. Okay, how's that? Yeah, I thought it would just be nice to have background, so I don't know why I keep saying wait in front of everything. Okay, so 15 to 1, and I normally do 17 times 2 equals, I need 34 grams of coffee. No, I'm not making 2 cups. Let's do 25 grams of coffee. If I did 25 grams of coffee, that math would be, no, I just did 25. 25 times 17, no, times 15. 375 grams of water. It's raining outside. It's a dreary Sunday. It's going to be a lazy Sunday once I'm done with this. Coffee, donuts, come on. A little bit of baking. And whoop, 375. Amy, Corvus, Amy. Hope's in there. Emily was here earlier, she had to go. All right, what should I make next week? I was thinking Granny's strawberry shortcake. Because I've never seen a shortcake like it. It's like a giant, hey Heather, it's like a giant sugar cookie. And I feel like the world needs to know. Is this how we grew up eating strawberry shortcake? I always thought it was weird that people would make strawberry shortcake with biscuits. I know it should be sweeter than a biscuit, right? But and apparently Granny agreed, because it's basically a giant sugar cookie. So let's do that next week. Shortbread. It's not really a shortbread. It's not, there's too much butter involved. It's too moist. But close, yeah. Right, we've got 10 minutes on the donuts. I have this guy ready to go for when we turn them out, and then get a pretty plate to put one on. And coffee done. Oh. I like this recipe because it's easily, you could double it easily, but it only makes the 6 donuts. And unless Heather gets over here to eat some of these, I could ask my neighbor downstairs. I try to only bake when I have people to share it with, because the first time I made that farmhouse that buttermilk farmhouse cake with the pecan topping. I lost my mind. I made a half of a cake, and then I think I ate it in 2 days. It was so good, I couldn't stop. I served it at my second wedding reception. You on like granny style? Brian's watching from the fire station. He says, hello, hi Brian. Be safe. Heather. Yeah, Heather. Just leave your video running, Heather, at your house and head on over here. I'm gonna check my downstairs neighbor and see if she would like if she's home, if she would like a donut. What was I doing? Oh, coffee. Do I have some sugar in here? Not much. I don't want to hear it about how much sugar I'm putting in my coffee. That'll do for now. Did you make it for your wedding, Amy? Like, did you make the recipe, the shortbread, or the shortcake? The fire chief loved it. Nice. Nice. Yes. Coffee. All right, so we'll do that next week. Let's see here. I think I have it printed out somewhere in here in my baking. Gotta make space. Classic birthday cake. Oh, the other thing about weighing your ingredients that's super handy. Let's say you want to do small batch stuff. So this is yet another King Arthur chewy chocolate chip cookie bars. And so one day I was like, I don't want to make the whole thing. I just want a little something sweet to munch on over the weekend. And I went through and adjusted the recipe by how many. I started with the number of eggs. Like there's 3 eggs, right? So the smallest you can go is 1 egg easily. So I needed to cut everything by 2/3. So I just wanted 1/3 of all the things. Well, that's hard to do when it's like cups and 3/4 of a cup of whatever. Okay, that's an easy one. That would be the quarter. But what I'm saying is, like, you can divide grams, 156 grams, much easier than and weigh it out than you can divide like a half a cup of flour divided into thirds. Whatever happens to be. So that's a quick and easy way to do small batches. So I also did that with some vanilla Madeleine cookies. It also called for 3 eggs, so the smallest I could go with a small batch is 1 egg, and so then I just did the math for the rest and wrote it down and made, I think it made maybe 5. No, I think it made more than 5. Somewhere between 5 and 10 Madeleines. It was perfect. So let's see, it's Granny's. You'll see a lot of, if you can see, yeah, a lot of King Arthur recipes. I might be a King Arthur super fan. I may have to stop for an inferior donut on the way home from the gym. That's okay. If these are good, they'll go in the, there it is. There's a strawberry shortcake. If these donuts are good, they'll go in the family rotation for holidays and stuff. Strawberry shortcake, butter, sugar, eggs, flour, salt, baking powder. And that's it. So that'll be an easy one. While it's baking, we can make the strawberries and cut up the strawberries and make the whipped cream and stuff. Yeah, let's do that next week. And you've honestly, it sounds like you've probably made this more than I have. So you may have some tips. Anything I should know? I had that recipe memorized for a while. Under there in case the pan gets hot. A little wobbly. You might want gloves. How so? Or what part would require gloves? For salted butter? Okay. Now, do you bake with salted butter, or do you salt it afterwards so you can control the salt? What are you doing over there? Because there's no salted butter between the brands. It could be totally different amounts of salt. I don't mind the idea that there's salt in there. Does it call for salt? Oh, it does. It calls for half a teaspoon of salt. Mix with your hands. Oh, I don't do that. Mix with your hands into a smooth dough. Yeah, no. Kerrygold is the good stuff. I'm starting to smell the donuts. I got 2 minutes left. The yellower the butter, the better the butter. Like if you get butter from like usually store brands are very pale yellow, and that just means there's less butter fats. Is that what they're called? But yeah, Kerrygold's a good one. 37 seconds. Okay, I can confirm we lost the holes. No holes left. I should hear it casserole made into a pie. Oh no, that sounds amazing. That would be a great way to do it, and then you could top it with like a marshmallowy topping and have it in the form of a pie. I think people freak out about, I don't know why people freak out about carrot casserole. It's not like a widely known thing, but I think they'd really freak out for carrot pie. Okay, all right, so here we go. We lost our holes. That's all right. The stuff inside is gooey and bubbly, and I'm going to really give this some thought about how to flip this out without burning myself. Thinking. No. Should I put this on top of that and just flip the whole thing? I'll do that. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Wish me luck. Why do I have a vision of like the gooey stuff just flinging out and going all over the place and burning the heck out of me? All right, here's how we're gonna do this. Hold on, let's get that centered-ish. Get over there. Whatever. Ah! Okay. I have a mess. I might have a little bit of a mess. Kind of went to the side. Oh my goodness. Okay. What do you think? Focus, focus. There we go. See, I would like more pecans. And I feel like the best way to make sure I've got lots of pecans is to do it separately from the sugar. And clearly this one got more of the juices because I didn't weigh as I went. So I didn't want to be that person, but this got more of the maple syrup butter mixture than like say this one. And the holes are gone, but that's okay. I'm gonna save this one for maybe a picture. Let's go with this guy. Let's see how we did. Since it is hot right out of the oven, I probably will use a fork to eat my donut. Like, you ever see that episode on Seinfeld? I keep thinking this is the hot pan. It's not. This pan is not hot. Okay, here we go. Is it good? Yes, it's good. It's very similar to the farmhouse, the buttermilk farmhouse cake. I definitely would do the topping different, maybe less butter syrup mixture and more pecans. Maybe a different, now I'm not gonna buy a whole other kind of a donut pan, that's silly, but we did lose the hole. Probably the right amount of cinnamon would have helped. Next time I'll check. I have a tendency to just take for granted that I'm gonna have all of the spices and the like the extracts on hand. Like, how often do you actually run out of cinnamon? But it's good. It is good. It's for sure good. Yeah, it's delicious. More pecans. Maybe weigh the amount of the liquid topping the syrup butter mixture as I'm filling each well. And then do the brown sugar mixture separate from the pecans so you can more consistently have both across the whole pan. Because there's definitely some of these have more pecans than others, which is sad. Everybody should have a good healthy amount of pecans. What if you use full pecan half pieces and lay them out in a ring on the bottom? Heather! That's a great idea. All right, I'll do that next time. We'll do like a little like wavy fan thing of pecan halves around the bottom. So liquid first, then the pecan halves, then the brown sugar mixture, then the batter via a piping bag, so it's easier. And yeah, they're great. They're fantastic. Super easy, super fast to make when you're not trying to run your first ever live stream and you're worried about all the technology and such. Okay, I'm just gonna have my donuts and my coffee. All right, next week we'll make strawberry shortcake. What do you think? Teacher's pet stories again. It is a great idea. Heather has some good ideas. Ah, delicious. Okay, so now check this out. I have some fun. I'm excited for the technology, but watch this. What? I'm back. Watch this. Now I'm on the wide shot. Okay. Thanks for joining today. Thanks for watching. I hope you try this sometime. I will most likely make it through the fall. It feels like a very fall-y recipe with the maple and the pecans and brown sugar and stuff. And fall is coming up, although in Florida it's just slightly less miserable summer. We have to make it feel like fall where we can. So anyways, great recipe. Another good job by the King Arthur flour. And thanks for joining me today. And I hope to see you next week for strawberry shortcake. Yeah. And if you haven't, please like the video. Click the, is it over here? Click the like button, please, the thumbs up. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed and all those good things. And I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me.